Oh, hello, Keld and Constanza, and thank you very much for joining the interview session of our daily briefings. I understand that you're going to tell us a little bit about the Transnational Access Programme and a trip that you recently made to Greenland. So Keld, I might start with you if that's okay. If you just give it context, and then Constanza, I'll come back to you. Please tell us about your trip to Greenland.
But it's a site that I've been involved in for more than 10 years. And my colleague Niels, who was also a senior member of our group, has been at the site since 2003.
Oh, wow.
We for many years we have taught a field course for geology students up there in glaciology and in glacial geology. And then later, I joined the course, and we got geomorphology and some fluvial geology as well. So we know the site quite well. It's also remarkable in the sense that it's one of the few places where you actually have an international airport and only 35 kilometers to the Greenlandic ice shield. It's also one of the few places where there's actually a road you can drive on. So logistics are nice. And then in Kangerlussuaq, where it is, they have their international science support, which is a place where scientists can come and stay for some days at a reasonable cost. And they can also get some kind of logistic support and a bit of lab things and stuff like that. So we thought that this would be a nice place where we could arrange a course from, given that we know where you can find places to different fields of geology and maybe also a bit of biology, and you can access them at a reasonable time. Off-road driving in Greenland is forbidden, so no matter what you do, you'll have to walk.
Oh, this sounds so interesting. And Constanza, then you were involved in the trip from last July just gone. So what was that like, and what were you involved in?
Yes, I went in July with Keld and other group, because we were a trip project. So our project concerned the study of the deformation and the tectonics on the icy satellites of Jupiter and Saturn, through the investigation of terrestrial analogues, which were selected into glaciers in Greenland near the site of Kangerlussuaq, where we were hosted by Keld. Actually, we have collected structural geology data, because we are structural geologists and also planetary geologists. So and this is why we study also the tectonics of the icy satellites. So actually, we collected the data from two glaciers called Isunguata-Sermia and Russell Glacier, and they as the majority of the glaciers, they deform since they flow driven by gravity. So they deform under their own weight.
Yeah.
And their surface structures, such as fractures, folds, and crevasses. So these are structures that are really key features for the understanding of the tectonic stress setting of an area and the stress field that generate them. And also, they are structures that provide insights about the deformed icy body, such as, for instance, its relative thickness, its behavior, and also the behavior at depth of the structures, of the tectonic structures, of course. Also, for instance, the fluid circulation, because they act as preferential pathways for fluids. So come back for of our project. Indeed, the aim of our project is to compare the deformation structures of these two glaciers, Zunguata Sermia and Russell glaciers, with the deformation structures on the icy satellites. So we know that the surfaces of the icy satellites, such as, for instance, Ganymede, Europa, or Enceladus, they show widespread tectonic deformations, and they show also kilometric scale of fractures and faults, which are really important, not only to understand the tectonics on the icy satellites, but they also represent a way of interchange between the surface and the subsurface ocean. So if we would like in the future, if you want to reach the internal liquid layer, we will need these structures as well. Yeah, but we can observe and investigate them by remote sensing, which of course represent a strong tool for their constraining. Remote sensing can be supported with terrestrial analogs. Yeah. So we adopted a multiscalar approach, and the concept is to identify, we can say, scanning laws between the deformation structures on glaciers and tectonic structures on the icy satellites. So basically, our field work based on the measurement of the fractures in the glaciers by measuring, for instance, their orientation, their depth, the length, height, the spacing between the structures, and also their spatial distribution. And then these data are related, firstly, to the image data of the region that we covered during the field work. Also mostly to identify a consistency on what observed at the outcrop scale, so at the local scale, and what observed at the regional scale by remote sensing. And then the next step is a similar correlation that will be applied to the structures recognized on the icy satellites only by remote sensing, of course. And so in particular in areas with similar tectonic setting that we observed during the field work.
So you very valuable trip. How long was your trip then in total? How long were you there for this summer?
We went for 10 days. 10 days, yes.
You got all that done in 10 days. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yes.
So very valuable, very valuable.
The weather was really good. So
that made it better.
I am really happy for our data and the first results. So it's okay. Of course, as all field works, I wanted to do more, but it's normal.
You'll have to go back another time. And so Keld, how can people avail of this transnational access program? How do you apply for it, and how does someone like Constanza get on the program?
Of course, they follow your homepage carefully, and then they, if they think that this is a place where they could make an interesting study, then they contact us at Aarhus University. My colleague John Marison is the PI on the thing. Actually, I am an emeritus professor, and so is my colleague Niels. But we think that we have so much experience that it's very nice to be able to give some of this further on to young scientists, and it's for us, it's a very interesting place to go back to, because one of the few things that we have studied up there is we made some GPS measurements where we've started the melting away of the glacier, and we have data. We have overall data from about 2003 up to 2019. And it's obvious that it's a place where there's a dramatic change of environment. We have lost more than 25 meters, somewhere between 25 and 40 meters of the ice surface has simply melted down during the time where we have been there. So it's really one of the places where you can see a strong influence of climate change. So that's another thing. It's important that young scientists can come to this place and work, and also get a bit. I think nobody can visit a place like this without somehow being touched.
I'd love to go. I mean, I'd love to go. I'd love to just tag along and write about it or report on it, because it sounds fantastic. So keep so if you're interested, anyone watching the interview today, just check out the website, and it sounds like it's very valuable and it's great, Constanza, and wishing you every success with your continuing research, Constanza, and thanks very much, Keld, and your colleagues for making that available. So thanks very much for your time, and talk to you again sometime. Thank you.